There's a league in world football where one club completely dominates. The league is the Super League in Malaysia and the club is Johor FC. They have won every league title since 2018 and now I am going to try to stop them. To make this challenge even harder, I'm going to take the team that is currently bottom of the Super League in real life. We're taking charge of Kelantan. Now the season preview shows the scale of the challenge as we are ranked down at 200 to 1 having just been promoted. It also shows the sheer scale of dominance of Johor and their consistent title wins. So possibly our impossible goal is to build Kelantan up to be the dominant force in Malaysia and overtake Johor to be the number one club in the country. Even the difference in stadium should show the level of our task. Right, this is one of the toughest challenges I've ever done for a few reasons. One, I've never been anywhere near this league. I've got no knowledge of the league layout or the players. So first things first, the squad, no player rings a bell at all, but I've had a quick look at it. Big hope is striker Ismail Kanade. He's been all over the place. Look at his career history. Alongside him is a pretty good Croatian player in Dominic Bolic. I'm going to tell you the other standout player is Indra Mahyudin, who is a 42-year-old. You'll see the level of task that we are taking on. Now obviously finances at this level are quite low. Our average wage, for example, is £337 a week. We do have somewhat of a transfer budget, but I really don't know what I'm looking for. Registration rules are okay, you can have a few foreign players so we can build up the squad that way, but we have to be careful as financial rules are very important in this league. So important in fact that some teams have gone bankrupt and been excluded from the league. For the first season I'm going to go for a pretty standard formation because we just need to survive. So I'm going to go for a 4-3-3 and I'm going to try and retain the ball as much as possible. I've got a standard back four. I'm going to ask one of my fullbacks to attack a bit more. The halfback will drop back, which will allow the fullback to push on. Two central midfielders, I want them both to support the striker. A pretty standard 4-3-3. So to bulk the squad out and to give us some sort of chance, I have brought in 5 players, spending a massive 2.8 thousand. Most of, if not all of these players will come straight into the team. As you can see from the attributes, that is the level we're working at. They're not exactly world beaters, and I've tried to keep most of them of Malaysian nationality. The more I delve deeper into this save, the harder it's going to be, I think. We've just done pre-season. The 4-3-3 is working alright. I'm not going to press too much. I've kept the pressing at just slightly more often, just so they kind of keep a shape, because we are that low down the totem pole. We just need to survive season 1, try and build up a bit of finances, and attack it a bit later on. This man is vital. Not only is he there to score the goals, but he is our best player, and you can see by his attribute set, he stands out from a lot of the other players. For example, the next possible striker would have been this man, and he is levels below. But the sheer level of dominance from Johor cannot be understated. They have absolutely killed this division. Look at this. I mean, what do you say about that? As far as the league structure goes, I am not sure. Does this break into a playoff? Does it mean the Champions League? 2 definitely get relegated. I guess we'll find out together. In only our second game of the season, we actually went to Johor's massive stadium. And do you know what? We put up a really good fight. We only just lost because we went down to 10 men and Endrick scored.
What?
No, not that one. This one. But we only lost 4-3 against the best team in the country. And for supposed relegation favourites, we actually did pretty well. Inconsistent, few too many draws, but not bad. And we surprised everybody by finishing our first season in 4th place, only losing 6 matches. Believe me, I'm really happy with that as a season 1, but it got a little bit better. There are 2 cup competitions in this league, and one of them we faced Johor in the final. They had a penalty to wrap things up, but our goalkeeper saves. And just minutes later, star striker Akanade had a chance to win it for us from the spot. He battered it in, and in our first season we win the Piala Malaysia. And granted, we got absolutely battered, but who cares? So we've made our mark now. We've told Johor we mean business by beating them in that cup final. The other cup, well, we lost to some part-timers, so we don't talk about that. However, the league campaign, finishing 4th, if you'd offered me that at the start of the season, I would have said, hell yeah. So going into season 2, I've identified some gaps that I think we need to fill, but it's got a little bit more complicated for us. As starman Akanade is leaving us. He wouldn't sign a new contract, and he's going to Nigeria to join Bendel Insurance FC, whose nickname is the Benin Arsenal. You could have been a legend if you'd stayed with us. So loads of work to do in the transfer market, and this is one of those situations where, because of the player pool, I'm actually going to rely a lot on the director of football to suggest me some players. We don't exactly have a lot of money with 2.2 thousand to spend, an £810 wage budget. Aish. So we went into season 2, going to stick with the formation because it worked quite well, but as you can see from the team setup, there's a big turnover of players. We might hit the jackpot with Pakistan player Shaikh Dost, already capped by his country. At this level, if we see attributes pumping up between 16, 14, 15, these are standouts. We've got to nab those players. Because in reality, most players are going to look like this, and if you want to equate it to English football, for example, this is a non-league standard. In total, I brought in 8 players, all on free transfers. I went to nearby Kyrgyzstan. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that was a country, and we got in a new striker in Jumabekov, along with his countryman Iskandar Bekov and some other random players, mostly of experience. It was a hard task to replace the goal scoring, but we're going to try it with Ivory Coast player Kipre Chete. Now this season wasn't the best, and we got knocked out of the semi-final of one of the cups by the Army. We got to the semi-final of our cup as well, getting knocked out by Perak. And as for the league, we finished all the way down in 8th, and worse still, you got it, Johor won again. To rub salt in the wounds, Johor went invincible as well. I tried all sorts in the season, I even ended up playing this weird formation, and as you can see by the gaps in my team, a load of players have been released again. In fact, the squad is absolutely tiny going into season 3. For season 3, I changed it up again. In theory, it's a 4-2-3-1 because my 2 wingers will push up there. Now last season, Jumbotron was actually really good. He scored 13 overall and he started this season well as well. And I was right about Dost. Injury plagued first season, but look at the way he started this season. We're going to play him as a shadow striker this time. Another host of players brought in and still absolutely nothing to spend. We are broke. But the big news was, after a barren season last year, this season, we're back in the trophy hunt. That's right, with 2 cups to play for in Malaysia, we got our second. This time it was the other cup, the Piala FA Malaysia. So that means we've got one of those to go alongside our cup in the first season. Unfortunately, that was the highlight of the season, as the league campaign was inconsistent as hell. And it was another pretty disappointing finish as we finished all the way down in 7th. 20 points away from Johor, who claim yet another championship. The tactic did okay, but I think for the next season, we're going to have to try something completely different to try and claw our way back. Pre-season, in we go, another clutch of signings, but some of these this time will be difference makers. Santos comes on loan from Santos, he's a striker. Another young South American, Alexander Rondon, comes in on a free transfer, and the striker turnover continues with Lambert Ariani. Now these players look a little bit better, and it's led me to think outside the box and go with a diamond formation. Now it's not your normal diamond because we're not going to rely on our wingers to supply the width because they're going to tuck in. Who I am going to rely on is the Mazzalas. So the idea is, when the inverted wing backs come into this sort of position here, then the Mazzalas will go and play it out wide. It does mean we get Dost as that shadow striker with our Brazilian striker. Now I've got high hopes about this one, but we need to, because we need to improve that position. So our job history looks pretty good. We've got 2 trophies. Remember, we are down in the dumps when you first start with Kelantan. You are way down the bottom. So the progress has been good, but we're just too far off these monsters. I mean, the stadium says it all. They just keep winning. They keep winning. And initially I thought the foreign restrictions were okay, but it turns out that during the match, so when you go to match day, you can only have 5 in the match day squad. So then you've really got to juggle around and decide who you want to play. I need to weigh it up, and for me, we need more goals, so my foreign players will be the front 3 and the midfield 2. And that decision has led to me having to retrain my winger, who's now going to play most of the season as an inverted fullback. It's risky, but I couldn't be more happy with the pre-season. That looks good. It all depends now on how the season goes. And instantly I started to feel better on the first game of the season as we put 6 past Sabah. 6-0, 6 different scorers, and everyone in the team seemed to enjoy it. This form has continued in an electric start to the season. And because of our cup win last season, this season we are competing in one of the AFC competitions. The AFC Cup, and that was a game we beat Persik from Indonesia. In fact, we're currently sat top of our group. That's the good news. The bad news is we've gone out of both cups, the Piala Malaysia and the Piala FA Malaysia, both at the quarter-final stage. However, it looks like this league can't deal with our new formation, and our big match against Johor, a 92nd minute winner from Lambert Ariana, was the peak on what's been an absolutely exceptional league campaign, and with only 3 games to go, out of nowhere, Kelantan United are top of the league by 3 points. Our next match, which could seal the title, you guessed it, it's Johor. Ahead of schedule? Absolutely. Am I bothered? Absolutely not. This has been an exceptional season, and if you look at the average ratings above my head there, nearly all of them are over 7. They've absolutely flew. I'm convinced our boy from Pakistan is far too good for us. He's racking up the international caps as we speak. And the key signing was getting Santos from Santos, because he ended up scoring 14 times for us all season up front. But the key position, the 2 Mazzalas, both of them Rondon here with 4 goals, 7 assists, 10 overall, and his midfield partner, he's got 9 goals and 5 assists. So that ability to roam is causing big problems. Now overall, look, we're sat top of the league by 3 points, but what's more impressive is the sheer amount of goals we've scored. In 23 matches, we've scored 70. So doing the Steiner math, that's 3 goals per match. But we've got a game in hand over Selangor, so if we beat Johor here, that'll take us to 64 points with 2 games to go, 6 clear with 2 to go. Surely that'll be it. Into the game with the biggest team in Malaysia, and it was heartbreak, because after 70 minutes, they took the lead. I mean, can we just pause it there? How bloody tall is that guy? Mo Zahir? That wasn't the end of the goals, because in the 94th minute, we struck. That 1-1 draw meant all we needed was a point against Kuala Lumpur Rovers. And in this match, we completely dominated. One of the most one-sided matches of the season, and unbelievably, Kelantan United are champions of Malaysia. Truly fantastic result, and as you can see, my team's already broken up because contracts run out before the end of the season. It's mad, so it's a good job we got it done when we did. If it went to the last game of the season, I wouldn't have had any players. So we progressed a little bit longer now, got the final game of the season done, and the most important thing is the thing right above my head under past winners. As you can see, we are now slotted in there, and we break up the dominance of Johor just like we set out to do. That is a beautiful sight. There we see it. There is the new Super Liga title in the year 2027 to go alongside them 2 cups we've already won. I would say that's a pretty good result, wouldn't you? Now, as you can see, the tactic was actually built from an old tactic called Be Rest, Free Up Front, which is a tactic I use with Brest in League 1. Slight changes here and there, including bringing a shadow striker in, led me to renaming the tactic to the Keller Diamond, and that is the one that will be in Patreon, and that is the one that has turned us into the best team in Malaysia. Now, as you can see from that screen, the big challenges you're going to come across in Malaysian football is contracts are limited to 2 years, I think. That's all I could offer was 2 years. Alongside that is obviously the quality of player is not probably what you're used to. So you really have to put your thinking hat on. What I found was if you get your best players in your key positions, so for me I've got shadow striker, Mazzala, and good centre back. Get 3 or 4 players that are of quality, you can fill the gaps around them. Now the save was going to be over there, but curiosity got the better of me because I wanted to explore the AFC Champions League. We even spent £925. Calm down. The best signing was a game from Brazil, another striker who bagged plenty of goals for us. And although we didn't win the league this time, neither did Johor, so I'm happy. And in the Champions League we beat Melbourne City not once, but twice, which made it even more annoying as they qualified top. Our main mission of stopping Johor being the most dominant team in Malaysia is complete. Part of me is tempted to maybe continue this and see if we can get an AFC Champions League for Kelantan United and Malaysian football. What do you reckon?